The topic, Denver rookie wide receiver KJ Hamler. The question, how good will he be for them? Let's just get into it. So it was very clear that Denver is, prioritizing the wide receiver position. They spent their first and second round pick on wide receivers. First, of course, was Judy. Second of which was, KJ Hamler, the guy I'm making this video about. And let's just get into what I like about him. One thing I think that is very interesting is they like to run jet sweeps with Hamler. Penn State did. They were big fans of running jet sweeps with KJ Hamler. And I think that's something that you could definitely see Denver also be doing because he is very good at this. And honestly, Hamler reminds me a little bit of like a young Emmanuel Sanders in some ways. But anyways, back to the jet sweeps. This is a good example where you have a halfbacks running up to, and that's kind of one of the luxuries of running a jet sweep is you can use your halfback as a blocker right here. He's going to run up to block a linebacker. You also have the receiver in the area. Both receivers on the bottom of the screen will be running out to block defensive backs. And Hamler's, gets the ball and runs up to the top of the screen. And as you see, first part's working out pretty well. And what I want you to do at this point, once I pause it, is try to take a guess as to how many yards is he going to get. I think that, you would typically think, okay, he'll probably get, if the line of scrimmage is at their 23-yard line, he might get it to like the 18, something like that. Maybe he can try to dive forward and get a couple more yards. But watch how many yards he's going to get. He's so quick, and he's so difficult to take down. He's able to get all the way inside the 10-yard line right there. Again, you can't always bank on broken tackles, especially in the NFL, but he would have had the first down regardless and gotten to the third, round of 13, even if he got tackled. So that speed is what I really like. And also, hey, it's nice to see someone who can break tackles, although that is something that always gives me pause heading into the NFL because it's obviously much more difficult to break tackles against NFL talents than it is against college talent. This one's probably my favorite example of a jet sweep that he ran very well, where it's going to be a jet sweep, going down the bottom of the screen, you have the halfback run out and block, same as last time. Although the difference here is that once the play starts to develop, you notice the halfback, this isn't exactly what you would have wanted. The halfback, he has no choice but to block the defensive back he's trying to block further to the bottom of the screen. You can't really blame him for this. I mean, the defensive back just did a good job of getting to the outside, which basically forces Hamler back to the middle. And what you also notice, the black circle, that's another defensive back who read this very well. He's getting over and trying to get in position to make a tackle. So far, so good defense-wise for Pittsburgh. But again, this is the thing about Hamler. He has that breakaway speed, and watch how he's just able to run by him. There's a little bit of contact, but not enough to make a tackle, and he gets a touchdown right there. It's that speed that really comes in handy on those sort of jet sweep plays. And that obviously has tremendous value on its own, but there's something else that I want to talk about. You saw how they went out and they drafted Jerry Jeudy, and a big reason why Jeudy is good is because of his route running. He's one of the best route running prospects that we've seen, maybe of all time, in terms of college to the NFL. He's unbelievable route runner, but Hamler is also a really good route runner. That's clearly something that Denver values, and for a good reason. It's incredibly important, and the idea that this guy's going to be a number 3 receiver already is definitely pretty good, especially when their top 2 guys are also very young. But take a look at this play. It's man coverage, and it's going to be a cover 1 play, and they're running a route concept on the top of the screen. That's great against cover 1. The receiver close to the sideline runs just a quick route where he cuts. Basically just doesn't run anything. He basically just goes a few yards out and just sort of hangs out there, where Hamler then runs a route that's going to be deep towards the sideline, and this is going to basically guarantee a one-on-one matchup. All Hamler has to do is win his one-on-one matchup, and this is going to be a big gain. And watch how Hamler goes about this, where he's going to fake as though he's cutting right next to the Purdue player he's going up against. He kind of gets a little bit over to the middle of the field. Nothing major, but he does it a little bit, and he's very good at being very subtle about this. So when he does do that, this kind of gets it in your head that he's probably going to be cutting closer to the middle of the field because he kind of creeped over in that direction. So when Hamler runs deep, again, he's able to use his speed, just blow by him. And number 6 there for Purdue, he didn't even do a terrible job at, it's not like he got completely fooled, but you don't need to completely fool him. You just need to get him a little bit off his game, and Hamler is so fast that that's all he needs. I also really like this play where it's man coverage once again, a cover 1 play once again. It's kind of a similar idea to what the last play was, actually. Hamler is the receiver, that's the, Second closest to the top of the screen, another receiver runs over the middle. Hamler runs deep. Very similar idea. And what's interesting about this play, however, though, is that you notice that Indiana is set up as though it's cover 2. You know that they have 2 of their safeties are basically already at the first down marker. But as you notice, the player covering Hamler is the one of the players who is, very far deep. It's a disguise, but you would think that in this situation it's actually a good thing because the Indiana player who is covering Hamler is very far off of Hamler, and since he is so far off of Hamler, this you would think is a good thing since Hamler is running a deep route. This should be an advantage for Indiana. And while there, of course, is some logic to that, the clear difference, I think, is that, Hamler is going to be, since he's running deep, the Indiana player, he doesn't know that. So he's going to cut in a little bit in case he isn't running deep. And this could actually end up being a bad thing, even though on paper it seems like it would be a good thing. And once the ball is snapped, Hamler definitely helps this out by, again, making a little quick move right there. He uses his footwork to kind of try and draw the Indiana defensive back as far in as possible because he knows he's running deep and he knows that he wants to get him as far in as possible. So that way when he turns on the Jets again, once again, he gets wide open, and I mean, there's just no one anywhere near him, and he's able to pick up a huge gain. That's just good route running, and it's good understanding the situation. He knew the coverage he was going up against, and he was able to make a really good play. And, him and Judy, in terms of football IQ, 2 of the smartest guys out of this draft in terms of receivers. I mean, maybe the 2 smartest receivers. So getting those 2 guys definitely very key, and both of them great route runners, understand the situations very well, and I definitely think that there was a reason why they clearly have a certain thing they value in receivers, and of course it also helps that he's just a really naturally talented guy as well. One more play, we'll show an end zone type situation. What's going to happen is that they're at about the 5-yard line. You have Hamler running over the middle. That's the way this play is going to work. And again, watch how Hamler does this. He does such a good job at this. This is the stem portion of the route, before you actually make a move, how he runs as though he's going straight up into the defensive back who he's going up against, the Michigan State player. And in doing this, the defensive back, he's kind of got his hips turned closer to the top of the screen and to the bottom of the screen. He clearly does not know what kind of route this is going to be, and this is not exactly what you would want. A lot of guys, especially young guys, just sort of run their route and don't really worry about the disguise too much. But the disguise is so important. How you run the route can be so crucial. And the fact that he can run routes as well as he can is definitely key because, again, once he cuts, he's so much faster. He's able to get wide open. He has that great combination of acceleration and great route running that, it's really difficult to defend against. And I think that, with Denver, I mean, this offense is looking legitimately loaded with a lot of good, talented young guys. You have Fant, who is a tight end, and tight ends historically don't do well their rookie season, but he even showed some promise, and will be interesting to see what he does next year. And then, by the way, you have Cortland Sutton, one of the more underrated receivers in the NFL, a true number 1 guy, no doubt about it. And then with Judy and now with Hamler, I mean, this offense is looking potentially loaded in terms of weapons, and that's not even talking about, the halfbacks. They have great halfback room. Their offensive line, I think, is mediocre. I don't think it's anything disastrous. And then, Drew Lock, another good young guy. And this could be a loaded offense for many years to come, potentially. It's impossible to know for sure, but it should be very fun to watch, so I'm looking forward to it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know, what do you think about KJ Hamler in particular? What do you guys think about how good he's going to be? I always like hearing what you have to say, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.